Bloody hell! Let's give them a seeing to.
I'm gonna have you bastard!
They speak my language. Pardon, mademoiselle. Voulez-vous...
Hey guys, how you doing? It's your old pal DayVeeJay again, back with another classic PS1 review in retrospective. So I was just sitting there the other day, wondering what game I should do for my next video, when I realised, well I haven't looked at a Disney game in a hot minute. Why don't we do one of those? Which, yeah, that really narrows it down, doesn't it? But then I came across one what caught my eye. Atlantis. Yeah, I remember Atlantis. And what's more, I remember liking it quite a bit. Yeah, it didn't do all that well critically at the time, but I remember the art style and animation being pretty good. I liked all the quirky characters, and I thought all the Atlantean technology was really cool as well. You know, how it was all like super advanced but still had that kind of ancient look to it. I loved all that stuff. I think I even had some of the toys. I'm sure I had the big drill thing. I think I got it out of a Happy Meal or some shit. But anyway, you know what I'm gonna say next. Disney film from the late 90s to early 2000s? Of course there was a game. And yeah, let's play it. But before we do that, we're still trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so if you enjoy my content and have yet to subscribe, then I'd very much appreciate it if you would do so. And as always, thank you so much to everyone who already has. And with that out the way, let's get into it. So Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire was developed by Eurocom, the same guys what did Tarzan, and published by Disney Interactive and Sony Computer Entertainment in 2001. It was only on PS1, but there were also a couple versions on Game Boy that we might have a look at as well. We start a new game, and as you might expect, we play as that weedy little twerp Milo Thatch, and are heading to the mansion of Preston B. Whitmore, which as it turns out is the tutorial level. So rather than tell you about the secrets of the lost city of Atlantis, he pretty much just wants to play as Simon Says with you. Seriously, you just walk in and the guy's like, okay Thatch, do what I do. I jump, now you jump. I mean, just imagine being brought to this guy's creepy old mansion, not knowing anything about who you're going to see or why. Then you meet this old fossil who's then just like, okay, now bark like a dog for me, like this. Come on, entertain me, I'm old.
I'm a bored and joyless old man, give me a laugh.
But joking aside, he shows you a bunch of moves and then you've just got to go around and try them out, while finding some stuff to help you on your adventure. And what the hell's up with Milo's skin? Why is he so pale? He looks anemic. Say a doctor, mate. But anyway, you've got pretty much the standard range of abilities for this kind of game. You can run, jump, duck, climb up walls and along ceilings, punch, swim, and you've also got an action button for interacting with various objects in the environment. And I like how every time you do it, Milo does this whole, what's this kind of thing? Even with something as simple as a light switch. I mean, have you ever gone up to a light switch and been like, a light switch? How do I use this? What does it do?
Wow! Raymond, you turned on the light! Pretty!
But with the tutorial out of the way, we then embark on our epic adventure to find the lost kingdom of Atlantis, and in the next level find ourselves aboard the Ulysses while it's under attack from the giant underwater Leviathan thing. And it's here where we come across another major feature, and that's the fact that you don't just play as old Miley Wiley over here, you actually play as the entire team. Well, most of it at least. See, at various points you come across these radio things will let you switch between characters. Like you've got Audrey the mechanic, Vinny the explosives expert, Mole the mole man, and later on you play as Kida the princess or whatever. Sorry Doc Sweet, I guess you just weren't interested enough to be in the game. There, don't worry, there'll always be the sequel. Maybe. Each character has their own unique ability. Like obviously, Milo's the one you use to decipher all the Atlantean writing and shit you come across. Audrey can fix mechanical problems. You use Vinny to blow shit up to create new paths. And Mole can see in the dark and dig holes, etc. Some characters can also push and pull heavy objects, while some jump higher than others, and only some can climb walls as well. So you will find yourself switching regularly between characters to progress further. And what's handy is, not all the characters are available all at once, just the ones what are needed to get through the specific bit you're up to. So at least you don't have to waste time trying to figure out which one you need for a certain part. although it is kind of annoying that you can only switch characters at the radio. Like, there were a couple times where I wasn't sure which character I would need, so I just kept going as the one I was, but then I would find my way blocked with no way through, and I'd be like, oh shit, I need a different character, so then I had to go all the way back to the radio again. It would have been nice if it could have just been like in GTA 5, where you pretty much just press a button to switch character, although I don't know, maybe that would have made the game too easy or something. Oh, and using the radio also acts as a checkpoint, so you might as well do it whenever you come across one, even if you're not changing characters, and you can also save the game from them as well. But anyway, you've just got to use Audrey to repair the turrets and then evacuate the submarine, and then in the next level we're piloting one of the little baby subs as we try to escape from the giant robo-lobster thing. And this is simple enough. First you've got to fight the big fuck, while he uses the Ulysses as the world's biggest baby rattle, and you've just got to blast the monster all over, while hitting all the shit he throws at you until all the other itty bitty subs escape. And then once that's done, we start moving all of a sudden, despite not moving before, even though the propeller thing was gone, but whatever. And now you've just got to control the sub and follow the route through the Mariana Trench or whatever, avoiding this big old boy who just doesn't know when to quit. And again, it's simple enough, you just avoid him and blast all the stuff he throws at you, while grabbing all the health and checkpoints along the way. Yeah, you shouldn't have much trouble with it, and it is cool that we've got some different types of level, just like we did in Tarzan. Then next, we're finally down in the ruins of Atlantis, and it's at this point where the game turns a little non-linear. Say you're at this place, and to get further you've got to drill through this wall, but unfortunately the big drill vehicle thing's broken down, and we've got to find the part to fix it. But the part's behind this door. Not sure how it got there, but whatever. And to open it, you first got to find these two crystal things. But where are they? Well, turns out they're actually in two other levels, both of which you can access from this area, and which you've got to complete first before you then come back to this level to progress further. Okay, whatever. You can do these levels in whichever order you want. I did the ice one first, but it seems to me I've also stepped into another universe, because we then find ourselves face to face with the Wampa from The Empire Strikes Back. I don't remember that from the film, and I admit I actually got stuck at this bit. See, you come to this door what you can't open without a key, but I looked all over the place and I couldn't find it. And once again, it took me longer than I care to admit to figure out what you're actually supposed to do. See, you'll find these things dotted about, which I also care not to tell you how long it took me to realise are actually crates what you can smash open by punching them, one of which contains the key for the door. So yeah, I got stuck because I didn't realise I could smash crates. But in my defence, have you seen this guy? Look at him, he looks like he only eats like once a month and has never picked up a dumbbell in his life. So you can understand why my autistic brain, which often has trouble suspending disbelief, wouldn't realise that this nerdy little fucker with the physique of a gnat's dick can literally smash open stone crates with his bare hands. It looks like he'd break an arm trying to punch his way out of a wet paper bag. So yeah, you can just go around smashing open stone crates with your bare hands without breaking those long, slender fingers of yours. And that also brings us onto the combat. Because not only can you smash crates, but you can also step to the fucking abominable snowman over here and beat the shit out of him and make him your bitch. Like how the Tyson Paul fight would have gone if old Iron Mike wasn't over 3 decades past his prime. Yeah, there's a topical reference for you. About half a year too late. Because that's just how I roll. But yeah, each character can attack up close, and they've also got a ranged attack. Like Milo can throw the Atlantean boomerang, Audrey's got a flare gun, Vinny can throw grenades, and Mole can throw rocks, etc. So you've got a couple options, and while the combat's about as simple as it can get, it functions well enough. I never had any trouble with it, for the most part. But anyway, you get the key and then you can get through the door. But it doesn't just go open sesame when you go up to it. Nah, instead you've got to go into your inventory. Yeah, this game's got an inventory. So instead of just walking up to the door and having it open for you, like I said, you've got to open your inventory, navigate to the section where the key's at, select the key, and then the door opens. And it's just like, why do we need to bother with that shit? I mean, it's just annoying. but that's not the only time where you've got to use the inventory. You also use it to heal yourself. So you'll find stuff like food and med kits and whatnot, but rather than just walk over one when you're hurt, instead it's added to your inventory and then you've got to go looking for the damn thing, and it's just a waste of time. But that's not all you can do with the inventory. You can also combine certain items together. Say you'll come across these coloured crystals, which you can then combine with things like your boomerang to, I guess, make it more powerful, although I never really noticed a difference. I only tried it a handful of times, and to be honest, it didn't seem to make the boomerang any more powerful than it already was. In fact, it actually made it worse, because whereas the regular boomerang can actually home in on nearby enemies so you don't have to mess around aiming at them properly, the quote-unquote upgraded boomerang doesn't do it, and instead just flies straight, so then you do have to mess around aiming at enemies, all the while giving them time to come up and slap the shit out of you. Yeah, this was really just pointless, and like I said, I only did it a couple times before forgetting about it. I mean, it's not like the regular weapons aren't powerful enough as they are. So overall, while I can appreciate the fact that they were trying to add more dimensions to the gameplay, I think the whole inventory system was pretty unnecessary and just made the game more annoying than it had to be, and it wouldn't have lost anything if they didn't bother with it. Oh, and before I move on, one more little nitpick with the inventory. Whenever you use an item, it automatically closes the inventory, which is fine if you're just using the one item, but it's annoying if you're using multiple items, like if you want to use more than one health pack, because then you've got to keep opening the inventory over and over again. I mean, just imagine if, say in Fallout, it closes the Pip-Boy every time you use a stim pack. Yeah, that wouldn't take long to get annoying, would it? So anyway, you just go through this place using different characters to get past various obstacles, fucking up Yetis and the fucking Iron Giant with your bare hands. Jesus! Oh, and you also bring the woolly mammoth back from extinction. Ha! Beat you to it, Colossal Biosciences! Oh, please say we can ride the woolly mammoth. Oh, on second thought, no. I remember that elephant bit from Tarzan. I'm not doing that shit again. But thankfully, no, we don't have to ride the thing, but it does chase us. Ah, keep those big tusks away from me. At least buy me a drink first. Oh, well, there we go. Mammoth's extinct again. Balls back in your court, Colossal Biosciences. But anyway, you find the ice crystal and then it's onto the fire level. And if you thought things couldn't get any crazier, ho, think again. Because not only do we now have fucking lava monsters and shit to deal with, but we've also got giant insects and purple saber-toothed tigers and shit. Like, what the fuck is this? Fucking Atlantis or fucking Skull Island from King Kong? And while none of the enemies are particularly strong or difficult to take out, some of them could be annoying. Like you've got these little bastards, who if they hit you, not only do they hurt you, but they also poison you, so you lose more health over time. And to cure yourself, you've got to mess around going into the inventory and then using the anti-venom. And it's just like, what's the point? But anyway, let's take a deeper look at the gameplay. The controls, well, they're fine enough, I suppose, but they're not brilliant, which is kind of a surprise since I remember the controls in Tarzan being a lot better. Here, the movement controls well enough, but it does feel a bit light and clunky, and for some reason, it's got this weird slippery feel to it, particularly when you're playing as Milo. Like, whenever you move, it feels like you're slipping and sliding around, like how it might when you're walking on ice in other games. And that happens here as well, but it also does it when you're just on normal ground, like rock, which, yeah, makes it way harder to move with precision than it has to be. Hell, it can even get you killed. Like in this level, you've got a lot of platforms to jump between what are over lava, but if you jump from the wrong spot, it's easy to land near the edge and then just slip off and die. Hell, even if you land safely on the platform, you can slip forward and fall off. Like, what the fuck are these floors made out of? Fucking soapy spunk or some shit? Although it's not the same for all the characters. Each have slightly different weights. Like Vinny and Mole are heavier, so they don't slip around quite as much as that fucking wet noodle Milo. But it's not just the platforming where you've got to be careful, since cause the controls are so light and sensitive, you can barely move in a straight line half the time. See, if you're on DualShock and using the stick, you've got to keep it perfectly still when you're moving forward, with the slightest movement being enough to change your course, which admittedly isn't an issue most of the time, but it is when you're trying to move your ass carefully along narrow walkways over fucking lava and shit. Yeah, that can be a bit annoying. And yeah, you can just use the D-pad, but that's not ideal either, since it's hard to even get yourself into the right position to walk in a straight line, what with you slipping around and shit. So while the controls aren't terrible, I mean they're nowhere near as bad as the likes of Batman and Robin, they still can be annoying at certain points, which does drag it down a bit. And it's kinda strange cause, like I said, I remember the controls in Tarzan being pretty good. I mean, I know that game was a 2D or 2.5D side-scroller, and the controls might not properly translate over to a 3D game, but I'm still not sure why they couldn't just make them feel similar to that game. Who knows? Anyway, you get the fire crystal, and then it's back to the cove where you place the 2 crystals on the statues, the door opens, you get the part for the drill thing, and then you use Audrey to put it in. And now it's time to drill some holes. So yeah, we've now just got to drive the driller thing into the walls to break through them. Although it takes longer than you'd think, to the point where I wasn't sure if it was even working at first. But no, just keep on reaming that hole and you'll get through soon enough. Then the next level's after the bit where the fireflies, the literal fireflies, burn down the camp and you're driving away, and you've just got to drive the truck along the track avoiding all the hazards in front of you. Although it's not the end of the world if you hit something, since it just takes off a bit of health, and there's plenty to pick up, so you can pretty much just go smashing through all the shit in your way, just as long as you make sure to grab as much health as you can, along with the fuel to keep you going. And yeah, it controls well enough I suppose, but you do have to be careful when you're going round corners cause there's often nothing to stop you from slipping and flying off the track to your doom. And then after that, we're finally in Atlantis proper, or the outskirts at least. And what do we do here? Well, seeing as we're entering a world untouched by modern civilization, first things first, slaughter all the local flora and fauna of course. I mean, we expecting something else? Come on, we're humans! It's what we do! We're the worst! Man, I wish the tripods would just come and exterminate us all. It's for the best. But anyway, there's not a whole lot to say about this bit. You just go around platforming and blowing up walls. Yeah, the Atlanteans are really gonna love us for that. The enemies get a bit crazier. I mean, we've now got the lizard people straight out of Spider-Man and giant rock monsters and shit. Which of course that weedy little stick insect Milo can still fuck up with his bare hands. Like, who the fuck is this guy? I was gonna say Balder from God of War, but hell, he's got way better definition than this little twiglet. And I guess I should talk about the collectibles, since I didn't touch on them before. Yeah, as usual, you've got a bunch of shit to pick up, like you'd expect for these sorts of games. First, just like in Tarzan, we've got these letters hidden throughout each level what spell Atlantis, and if you find them all, then you unlock an extra cutscene from the film. Yeah, wow, some reward, huh? Then there's these clear crystals, which for every 15 you find, you get another life. Jesus, could have used that in fucking Rayman. And in addition to the other coloured crystals, you've also got these green crystals, which I never figured out what they were for until I looked it up after finishing the game. Turns out there's one in each level, and if you find them all, apparently it unlocks a bunch of concept art and shit for you to look at. Again, real great reward. Really makes me want to go back through and find them all. Then next, we reach Inner Atlantis, where it's mostly just the same, except that you've got to sneak past the Atlantean guards who will throw you in jail if they catch you. Although, strangely, for such an advanced civilization, they don't seem to have mastered the art of climbing. But yeah, even though it's not too hard to sneak past them, it's still annoying when they catch you, cause then they send you back to this jailhouse or whatever and you've got to make your way back through areas you've already been through. But it's okay, cause you can play as Keda in this level, who can walk past the guards without getting arrested. But then that forces me to ask the question, if Keda's our friend, which she obviously is since we can play as her, then why can't you just be like, whoa, chill out guys, they're with me? It would just make things so much easier, don't you think? But anyway, there's not a whole lot more to talk about gameplay wise, so let's take a look at the presentation side. The graphics are decent enough for the time, at least for PS1. And I like the fact that the art style at least somewhat resembles a look and animation of the film. The environments are pretty well detailed and the character models mostly look like their film counterparts, although Milo is a bit goofy looking. I mean, just look at him, what the hell's that supposed to be? The voice acting's pretty good, which shouldn't be much of a surprise considering that it's mostly the same actors playing their characters from the film, all except Michael J. Fox and James Garner as Milo and Rourke for some reason. I don't know, I guess they just turned their noses up at being in this stupid little kids game. That's not real acting. Video games aren't art. I do have one complaint, although it's not to do with the voice acting itself, but I just didn't know where else to put it. See, like with a lot of games, once you've picked up so many of a certain item, in this case it's 9, then you can't pick up any more, and that's fine. Like I said, that's a thing in many games. But what's annoying is, every time you then walk over that item, the character you're playing as will always feel the need to tell you that you can't pick up any more, as if the fact that it's now see-through and I can't pick the fucking thing up isn't enough to help me figure that out already. You gotta keep telling me that shit? What do you think I am, a total fucking wazzock? The soundtrack's pretty good as well. It's pretty much the kind of music you'd expect for this kind of game. It's mostly just light and whimsical with a strong sense of adventure that goes well with the gameplay. And yeah, it's fine enough. Oh, and I got one more random complaint what I don't know where to put, so I'll just stick it here. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the Tarzan video, because it was probably in that game too, since it was made by the same people. But when you go to save the game, rather than just, you know, save the game, it forces you to go through the whole thing of navigating to the block on the memory card every time you want to do so, which, fine, whatever. But the least you can do is let me move the cursor up and down as well as left to right so I can get to the spot faster. I mean, I know it just saves like a couple seconds at the most, but would it really have been that difficult just to make up and down work at the save screen as well? Just to be that little more convenient? Is that really too much to ask? But anyway, after going for a G-rated skinny dip with Kader and discovering the secrets of Atlantis, the other shoe drops and turns out Rourke and his mercenaries aren't really all that nice after all. How'd I see that coming? Well, how about the fact that they look like the fucking Hellghast from Killzone? Yeah, that was kind of a big tip-off. That, and it's also a Disney story. So anyway, we've now got to stop Rourke from stealing the heart of Atlantis or some shit. And the first step to doing that is finding the pieces of some mosaic for some reason. Okay, whatever. Yeah, not a whole lot to say here, except that we've still got to sneak around the guards who'll throw you in jail if they catch you, even though we've already spoken to the king and he knows we're helping them. So why the fuck are the guards trying to stop us? What, are they working with Rourke as well? Because that'd be some twist. It wouldn't make a lick of sense, but it'd still be some twist. Then next, it's the bit where they all jump on the super advanced fish speeder things, what they all just suddenly know how to use, and it's time for another vehicle level where we're taking the fight to the mercenaries. And again, this is simple enough. It's just another on rails bit where you're flying on the fish speeder and you've got to avoid all the shit in the way, get as much of the health and checkpoints as you can and shoot down all the enemy planes before they shoot you down. Not much more to it. I mean, it controls well enough, although it can be pretty hard to avoid getting shot up by the enemy planes, but as long as you keep shooting them down and grabbing health, you should be alright. So overall, while there were a few bits that could be a little annoying, on the whole I didn't find anything in this game to be particularly challenging. Not as much as in Tarzan, if you can believe it. Yeah, there were some bits in that game that nearly made me tear my fucking hair out. But here, there shouldn't be anything that'll give you too much trouble. So now it's time for the final showdown, and unlike the final fight in Tarzan, which was as hard as Lucifer's balls, this is a piece of piss once you figure out what to do. First, you've got to fight old Helga the she-wolf over here, but beating the shit out of her doesn't do anything except stun her, and what you actually have to do is get her to shoot the fuel tanks or whatever around the edge of the platform. So yeah, this is easy enough. You literally just have to run over to one, wait for it to shoot, and then get out the way, then onto the next one, rinse and repeat. And I like that every time she hits one of the tanks, she's like, oh no, there goes another one. And it's like, well, stop shooting the fucking things then, you daft biddy. And after you take out Helga, it's onto the big cheese himself, Mr. Rourke. And I like that they couldn't be asked to change his model from earlier, so he's just fighting us in his full military uniform. Just a bit overdressed for the occasion, don't you think? But yeah, he's easy as fuck as well. Again, once you figure out what you've got to do to him. Because to be fair, it is a bit convoluted. Basically, you first gotta hit the safe thing with the heart of Atlantis in it with the boomerang, what then makes it go apeshit and start throwing out lightning and shit. Then you've got to smack old G.I. Joe here around the chops, which stuns him for a couple seconds, and then the energy from the heart freezes him in crystal or whatever. Why he needs to be stunned for that to happen and Why it doesn't hurt you, I don't know. I'm not the fucking developer. But once he's frozen, you smack him again, and that's what takes his health down. And then you've just got to do it again and again until he's fucked. So yeah, easy enough. It's just annoying if you do get killed, because then you've got to go back and fight She-Ra again. But aside from that, it's fine. And with the bad guys dead, you bring the heart back, Atlantis is saved, Milo and Kida get together, I guess they're gonna get freaky deaky once the credits roll. See? Despair not, nerds! If this weak little wank stain can hit that, there's hope for us all yet! All it takes is saving an ancient civilization from collapse, yeah. Probably should just stick with the AI girlfriend if you ask me. And yeah, that's that. So that was Disney's Atlantis on PS1. And in conclusion, yeah, it's decent enough. Nice little Disney game. It plays well and it's got some decent features. I like the fact that you don't just play as Milo, but you get to play as the whole team. Or most of it at least. Sorry again, Doc. And they've all got their own abilities. It does have some pointless shit, like I don't think the inventory was really necessary, and the whole combining crystals thing, yeah, that didn't serve much purpose. They could have easily left that out. I liked that, as with Tarzan, there's a few different types of level, like in addition to the standard ones where you're just running around and exploring, you've got the vehicle levels as well, so that helps keep the gameplay from becoming too repetitive, and shows that some effort and imagination did go into it. The controls aren't the best, and like I said, they could be annoying at times, but it wasn't enough to drag the game down too far. So on the whole, it may not be particularly groundbreaking. I mean, it doesn't do anything really new or unique, but it's fine enough for what it is. I don't know if I can go so far as to recommend going back to it, unless you played it as a kid or if you liked the film, but yeah, if you like the look of it, then by all means, give it a go. But anyway, if you remember back to the start, I said there were a couple Game Boy versions as well, so let's take a look at those real quick. First up, we've got the version on Game Boy Color, where once again we start in old Whitmore's mansion, but rather than being the tutorial or anything, it's just a simple side-scroller where you've just got to make your way to the end. But we won't be doing it alone, because turns out the whole gang's here, and again we can switch between them with the radios dotted about the mansion. But yeah, like I say, we're only in Whitmore's mansion. What do we need guys like Mole and Vinny for at this stage? Well, turns out we need Mole to be just that, a mole, and dig through the floor to get further into the level. Yeah, I'm sure old man Whitmore's really gonna love that. But that's not all, because then you switch over to Vinny to go blowing through walls and shit. Yeah, that's great. Guy who's financing the whole expedition, just go around blowing bits of his house up. I'm sure you'll really be happy with that. Then next, we're on board the Ulysses, again as the Leviathan tries to turn us into fish food. But that's not all we've got to worry about, because turns out the crew wants us dead as well. Getting a bit ahead of ourselves, aren't we, guys? You need this guy to get to Atlantis, you fucking idiots! But not just that, because apparently they want the whole team dead. Yeah, just murder the explosives expert, why don't you? I'm sure that won't come back to bite you in the arse at some point. But joking aside, it's just a simple little side-scroller, and it's fine enough, not much more to say. And then it's onto the Game Boy Advance version. I'm not really sure why we needed two versions on different platforms, but whatever. But unlike the Game Boy Color version, this time we start off straight away on the Ulysses. Yeah, I guess old man Whitmore was like, you're not coming to my fucking house again, not after the state you left it in the Color version. Still haven't fixed the carpets in the fucking drawing room. So yeah, we're aboard the Ulysses, where thankfully the crew aren't trying to murder us this time, and we've got to find Audrey and help her fix the boilers, cause yeah, that seems like a job for an archaeologist, or whatever you're meant to be. I was actually kinda surprised by just how quick and fluid the movement was in this version. I don't know if that was a common thing with Game Boy Advance, since I never actually played it that much back in the day, but it is a lot better than I ever thought it would be. But yeah, you just run around, fix up the boiler before it goes boom, and that's the level done. Then in the next level, we're evacuating the sub while it's getting raw-dogged by the Leviathan again, and you've just got to run through, opening all the doors to get everyone out within the time limit. And this is simple enough, but then a bit of the ceiling fell on me and I died, and then I was just like, yeah, fuck this. So yeah, that's how we'll look at some of the games based on Disney's Atlantis. Yeah, some. There are more, but I couldn't be asked to go hunting for all of them, so we'll just call it a day here. But yeah, it was nice revisiting one of the old Disney classics. Hopefully the bastards will keep their grubby mitts off it and just leave it alone and not try to ruin it like they've been doing with a lot of their other classic stories. You know what I'm talking about. Disney. Well, there's another one for you. You may have noticed that these past few videos have taken a bit longer than usual to come out. Don't worry, I'm not losing interest or anything. I've just been working on another project, not related to YouTube, but still very close to my heart, which I hope to announce sometime in the not too distant future, but we'll see how that goes. Just in case you were wondering why the videos have taken a bit longer as of late. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then leave a like. If you didn't, then tell me to go fuck myself. We're still trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so if you enjoy my content and have yet to subscribe, then I would greatly appreciate it if you would do so. And as always, thank you so much to everyone who already has. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.